people.
Okay, hello everybody. Okay, welcome to another celebration of African American History Month. This is our annual Unity Luncheon. It was renamed by Miss Blue. Can we get a little clap for this? I'm so happy and pleased and privileged to be able to be a part of this once again, thanks to Chef Nelson. Can we give her a round of applause? And to her wonderful crew that helps, that supplied most of the food that you see here. So can we give them a So we have a brief program for you. I'm like you, I'm famished, I'm ready to eat. Anybody here hungry? Yeah. No, you're not hungry. Anybody here hungry? I'm hungry. Okay, great. All right. We have for your privilege, we have two wonderful speakers that are going to talk to you a little bit, and we're going to dine and enjoy ourselves in celebration of unity. Okay, so to start the program off, I'm going to ask Janae to start us off with a song that most events that deals with African Americans, they always start out with this song called Lift Every Voice and Sing. And we call it our Negro National Anthem, or the Black National Anthem. Everywhere all the events, if you go to an NAACP event or any other event, we always open up with that to, bring our minds back to the struggles that continues. So, if you don't mind, I'm going to ask that you stand while Janae sings.
Loud as the rolling sea, sing a song full of the faith that dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won.
Good morning. My name is Kayla Fermay, and I'm the president of the Student Council. On behalf of Hoboken High School student body, faculty, and administration, we welcome everyone to our annual Unity Luncheon and celebration of the African American History Month. One might ask, why a luncheon? The answer is simple. We are one tree with many branches. The African American experience embodies American history. In spite of our cultural differences, we are individuals. We are individual fingers attached to the same hand. But as a clenched fist, we are united in the strength and power. In the word of the great patriot, Bruce Springsteen, I am proud to be an American. Not only are we proud to be called Americans, but we are also proud of the righteous men, women, and children who are trailblazers for democracy, equality, and social justices in the name of freedom. So in essence, we are here today to celebrate the pioneers of African Americanism, to celebrate the rich contributions of our ancestors, and to celebrate the things that bind us and not separate us. We are here to promote the sweet fellowship of unity through food and music. Thank you once again for joining us as we pay tribute to the ideals of unity and unity. Today we have a guest speaker. I have the pleasure of introducing our second speaker named Mr. Carl France. First speaker, sorry. Mr. Carl France is a men's assistant volleyball coach for New York University. Please give him a warm round of applause.
Thank you. I have Coach voice, so I'm fine. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's a pleasure to be here, and when I heard about this, I asked, what's this about? And from the start, the singing of the Negro National Anthem, which is something that we grew up with in our household, and I see that there are a few blacks in the audience, but mostly Hispanic as well. So the struggle is real for all of us. And if one of us is hurting, we're all hurting. So let's start with that part of it. The second part of it is, oh yeah, this is going to be fun. I am a person who grew up in New York City, right across the river. I grew up in Coney Island. If any of you familiar with Coney Island?
Yeah.
Okay. Hot dogs, right? Hot dog contest, right? Okay. Well, when I grew up there, I'm a little older than you guys. I'm a couple of generations older than you guys. And when I grew up there wasn't as much fanfare about all that stuff. It was about, hey, we live here, and what people don't realize about New York City is all the main, if you looked at New York City and you say, hey, here's Wall Street, and then you go circle out, circle out, circle out. When they built the city, everything was built so that the people in power lived there and everybody was outside of the city. They wanted to keep everything in. So I lived in Coney Island, and Coney Island had more city housing than they did regular housing. Projects, as most people will call it. I'm a product of the projects. I made it all the way through to this beautiful spot of NYU, and it's through hard work and dedication and learning my lessons. I went to a high school called Brooklyn Tech, which is your McNair, I guess, in this area, where you can test to get into and be smart and all that stuff. But and there are smart people at every high school, but I've had plenty of friends of mine who went to other high schools and excelled well. What I learned mostly is that if you take what is given to you and you expound upon that, you expand it, so you can reach whatever dream you might have, you will reach it. You have to work as hard as anybody else. No one's going to go, hey, take this. As I've learned, and I was talking to Chef Nelson about this a couple of weeks ago, and I just remembered it, I didn't have a driver's license when I went to school in Ohio. I went to school in Northwest Ohio. I left New York City, which is a scary thing, and I went 10 hours west to a place to study broadcasting and be a broadcast major. And I had all the things. I was great on the mic. I had my own radio show. I was great. Like, who do you guys listen to on the radio now? Who do you listen to? If you listen to radio at all, who do you listen to? Right. So there used to be DJs, and they were bigger than life and all that stuff. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to be one of those guys. Well, I didn't know anybody. So what does that tell you? If you don't network, so at a Unity luncheon like this, you should make sure that you know who I am after this, because somewhere down the line you're like, hey, remember you came and spoke to us and you said these things, and I'm like, yeah. What do you need? Because it's not what you know unless you use it with who you know. So you need to make sure that the people around you help you to get where you want to be, but you also have that knowledge to do it on your own. But a little help will get you that much further. So if you can remember those two things today, that I'm from Coney Island, so I'm not much different than anybody in here, but I also learned that lesson that I didn't have a driver's license in Northwest Ohio. If I had a driver's license, I probably would not be standing here right now. I'd be somewhere else. But the fact that I didn't, I had to come back to New York City. I had to become a lifeguard because that's all I can do at the time because nobody was hiring a person without a lot of experience. So I became a lifeguard. From a lifeguard, I became a personal trainer, and then I said, you know what? I played volleyball in college. I can do this. I can coach. So now I'm a coach for 20 years. So I think what you have to do is make sure that all your ducks are lined up, but then you make sure that you make great connections. You get internships, you get part-time jobs, you do what you have to do to get to where you need to be. If that means you want to be a chef, then hey. If you want to be an educator, you have great educators around you. You have to make sure that you put your work in to make sure that you can get to that point. And if you don't do that, it's going to be a struggle. So let's not struggle. Let's make it easy on ourselves. So I thank you guys. And if you have questions later, I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you have. Okay? Thank you very much.
Okay, Chef Nelson, okay, this is the part that we all love, and that's the dining part. So if you're like me and you're famished, you know, I hope you enjoyed this lovely meal. It's something that, you know what I love? If I see a room of girls here, and this is a great start. It's a beautiful thing. Hoboken High School is beautiful. You represent them well. So as Chef Nelson gives you direction, you're going to be, you can come up, grab a plate, and dine sumptuously. Okay, everybody, can we have your attention, please?
Hi, my name is Kayla Milo. I'm a student here in Hoboken High, I'm a senior, and I'm a member of the student council. And I'll be reciting Caged Bird by Maya Angelou. A free bird leaps on the back of the wind and floats downstream to the current ends and dips his wings in the warm sun rays and dares to clean the sky. But a bird that stalks down his narrow cage can seldom see through his barred rage. His wings are clipped and his feet are tied, so he opens his throat to sing. The caged bird sings with fearful trill of the things unknown but long for still, and his tune is heard on the distant hill where the caged bird sings. The free bird thinks of another breeze, and the tradesman saw through the sighing trees, and the fat worms waiting on a dawn bright lawn, and he names the sky. But a caged bird stands on the grave of his dreams. His shadow shouts on a nightmare scream. His wings are clipped and his feet are tied, so he opens his throat to sing. The caged bird sings with a fearful trill of things unknown but long for still, and his tune is heard on the distant hill, for the caged bird sings.
Hello guys. First off, before I introduce our next guest speaker, I'd like to welcome Dr. Fitzhugh. He is our assistant superintendent. Would you like to come up and say a few words?
The assistant superintendent. Okay, I have to make sure we got that straight. All right. Good afternoon. This is my 5th year in the Hoboken Public Schools. I used to be the principal of Thomas County's Elementary School. Some of the students, it's broken. Okay. Some of the students that have walked the halls, graced the halls here, have been my students when they were in elementary school. I've had some siblings, cousins, but I see you guys in here, and I have to say, today has been a respectable afternoon here at the high school. So I have to say, beyond respectfulness, the conversations, the food, the conversation has been tremendous. And I have, Chef Nelson, thank you.
Not your more than welcome.
Students, thank you. And without any further ado, can I introduce? Okay. So without any further ado, I'd like to introduce my sister, Dr. Avala Kichiko, who is a pathologist at Rutgers University Medical. She's also an associate professor of pathology.
Thank you. I tease my wonderful brother a little bit
because I never use my married name at work. No offense to my husband, my lovely, lovely husband, but I made a promise to myself, which was, if I'm married before the end of medical school, I'll take his name fully. If I'm not, then I will practice under my name. Needless to say, I was not married at the end of medical school, and I will be Dr. Fitzhugh till the day I die. Can I tell the part about how we're twins?
It's true.
So we're twins. So I've known Mr. Fitzhugh longer than any other human being on the planet in the world because, well, we grew together from the very, very beginning. So I call him my bloom mate. But he's a very good man, and I have to say, having grown up with him, I'm very proud of what he's become. And he will not shed a tear because I know him better than that. So no more sappy stuff about him and more sappy stuff about me. So, you know, obviously Mr. Fitzhugh and I went through the same education. We did some things a little bit differently, but we both ended up being educators in the end, which was very surprising. I always said I would never be a teacher, I would never be an educator. And when I went to medical school, I learned that, you know, doctor is really Latin for teacher. So most doctors teach. You know, as an associate professor at New Jersey Medical School, I teach for a living. I actually run a course in musculoskeletal diseases. In my practice, I am a musculoskeletal pathologist, so I do all kinds of things in musculoskeletal disease. Bone tumors, soft tissue tumors. Unfortunately, I diagnosed cancer, which is a really hard part of my job. But I take care of a lot of wonderful people, and I watch a lot of people heal and grow. So, you know, that's what I really, really appreciate. What I want you guys to understand, because you really are the future. One of you might end up taking care of one of me, or end up being my kid's pediatrician someday, or being my children's doctor, or my doctor. So, what I want you guys to remember and understand is that you are the future. Every single one of you. Don't ever look at yourselves and think there's something you can't do, because you can do whatever you put your minds to. Is there a lot of hard work in it? Of course. Nothing in life comes without hard work. You know, being a doctor is probably one of the hardest things I've ever had to do, or one of the hardest things I've ever become. But it is an enriching, fulfilling job every single day. And I love taking care of my patients. I love teaching my medical students. They were actually wonderful. They nominated me for a teaching award this year in the medical school, which is great. Little did they know it was my 4th nomination, but I didn't want to tell them that because they nominated me. But they are a wonderful group. You know, I love my students. I love my patients. And I love taking these opportunities. So Mr. Fitzhugh asked me to be here. I was like, no problem. You just tell me where I have to go, when I need to be there, and I'll be there. So that's how I got here. I don't know how much time you guys have. And I'm sure you might have some questions about, you know, what it's like to become a physician, you know, the roadblocks, the hurdles, you know, what things you may have to do. So if you guys want to ask me any questions, I like to leave it open. Anything I can actually answer. There's some questions I really can't answer, but if you ask them, I'll tell you I can't answer.
Do you think teaching makes you a better doctor?
Absolutely. Because by being a teacher, you're forced to learn and stay up to date with all the advances in medicine. And by teaching, when you're teaching the current crop of medical students, you have to teach to what's current. So it really keeps you on the ball and keeps you on your toes in terms of what you need to know and what you need to teach. So absolutely, absolutely teaching is going to be a better physician.
What was some of the hurdles that you had to struggle with some challenges
Absolutely. I mean, now I have to say the hardest thing, talking about it, you're talking about this, the biggest hurdle that I actually faced in medical school was the first one, and that when I was a 2nd year student, my mom passed away. And that was probably the hardest thing to deal with. And a lot of people, and this is where I say they're always haters, this is where the haters kind of started creeping out. There were a lot of people within the school, within the medical school, who were basically telling me, you know, this isn't a good time for you, you should take more time off, take a leave of absence. You know, one of the things my mom said to me, she made me promise I was going to finish, and finish on time. So I told people, no, I'm going to stay, I'm going to stick it through, I'm going to stick it out. And I have one professor who actually happens to be a colleague of mine now, who said, you need to stay and you need to finish. There's no point in you taking time off. Best advice I ever gotten. Now, being a woman of color, in a sense, in medicine, is still a double. spend a lot of time proving to people that you're there because you belong there, not because somebody did you a favor and got you. And there were no favors done for me. You know, Mr. Fitzy can tell you, I was always at the top of the class. I always had the grades, I always had the good exams, the SATs, the MCATs, you name it. I was ready, I was prepared. So I've been fighting. I actually had somebody, you know, now as an associate professor, as an attendant, ask me if I was in affirmative action. There's no affirmative action anymore, but whatever. When people literally look at me and question my ability because of the shell that I'm in. And I want you guys to believe, especially, you know, students of color, that there are still going to be people who are going to doubt you because of how you look, and they should. If you have the ability, you have the ability. That ability will take you far. But don't let people for a second even make you believe that you can't, because yes, you can. I am proof that you can. You know, and what we see in medicine, unfortunately, as you get higher up in the ranks of professorship. So professorship starts at the assistant professor level, and then you go to associate, and then to full professor. So I'm in the middle tier. As you get through those higher ranks, the numbers of people of color drop off significantly. And in my field, which is pathology and laboratory medicine, at the associate professor level, there are literally 6 associate professors of color in the entire country. Because they do surveys, they collect this information, so it's out. And I actually got up at a meeting that I went to, that I spoke at in San Diego several years ago now. And one of the speakers said, and I was literally one of 2 black women in the entire room. And one of the speakers said, you have to stay in academic medicine because the students need to see you. Please don't leave. And I thought about walking away for reasons that had nothing to do with the students. But the students really are one of the reasons I say. Because I think students need to see people who look like them, who have gone through the things they've gone through, and can show them they can achieve really whatever it is that they're trying to do. There's no reason. Yes, there are stumbling blocks. And there are going to be people who will straight up be out to get me. I hate to say that, but they exist. So you just have to stand tall and be proud and do what you and do you. Be proud of you. Because you guys are an inspiration. You guys are why I do my job. Because one of you, I guarantee, one of you will come through the halls of New Jersey Medical School. I have no doubt. One of you will. And when you do, God willing, I will still be there. And I want you to come up to me when you are in my course. And I want you to say to me, Dr. Fitzy, you spoke to me when I was 14, 15, 16 years old. And I want to say thank you, and I'm here today. That's what, one of you make me that promise. If you decide to go into medicine, look at us, look at our school. You know, we love attracting students who look like us. So look at our school, look at us carefully. And, you know, reach out. I'm very easy to find on the internet. My email address is it's out there. So if you have any questions that I don't have time to get to today, please reach out to me. You know, if you want a mentor or somebody who will listen, please reach out to me. I am happy.
No questions?
Yeah.
One question.
Like, what kind of courses did you take in high school, and what did you do to go into your field?
So I took a bunch of AP courses in high school when they were, you know, once it was time for me to be able to do that. And so I took AP biology and I took AP chemistry, they were fun. Man, I took some AP, like not science stuff too. I took AP world history, which was great. That was a lot of fun. I took AP government and politics. That was crazy. But it was what I did to get me ready for work on the college level. So by taking those advanced placement courses, it gave me that opportunity to see what it was like to work closer to the college level. Because I'll tell you, when you go to college, I went to Rutgers, and when you go to college, some of those intro courses, Biology 101 is a room with like 600 people. And the professor, I'll never forget, Diana Martin. Woo! And she wrote the book that we had to buy for our course. Diana Martin she said, look to your left and look to your right. Next semester, one of you won't be here. She was not kidding. Because that next semester, the room had dropped in half. Mr. Fitzy.
How do you do a competition?
Other than the competition I grew up with. Competition. Kids will get me later for saying that. Competition. How do you deal with competition? And there's a lot of competition in medicine. Trust me when I tell you, people, we call them the gunners. Like the people who will do any and everything to look like the best student. I will tell you that as professors, we figure it out pretty quick. We know the people who aren't good team players and who are trying to make the other students look bad. We figure those out pretty quickly. And usually we'll pull them aside and say, look, you're not impressing us by making the others, trying to make the others look bad. There's a lot of competition in this system. And you just realize you have to be yourself. You know, the only person who can outdo you is you. You can't let other people, it's like, you know, medicine's like a sport. You can't let other people get into your head. You just have to do the best you can for yourself. So your only competition in medicine really is you. And if you don't make yourself out to be the loser, then you will win, and you will win every time. But you have to understand that your worst critic, your worst enemy is going to be yourself. Because I mean, there's nobody in the world who's harder on me than me. Oh, can't say I blame you.
It's already clear. Any other questions, or? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, it's for the people.